You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 364 for Sunday, the 6th of June, 2021.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls podcast. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Alas, no Jane this week, but who better to fill her boots is the wonderful, the delightful Anthony Markham. Hello there, my lovely.
Hello, dear. How are you today?
I am so good because I know we're going to be talking about your delightful, decadent Walt Disney World trip that you've just recently come back from.
Yes, I tried so many new foods just thinking of you.
Oh, if only I would have been there to walk down Main Street holding your hand, it would have been an even better trip.
It would have, yes.
But we have plans afoot.
Yeah, shall we save it?
Well, no, we can mention. We've booked a little outing on a bit of a ship.
Yes, my first Disney cruise, and it's going to be with you.
Yay!
Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited. I haven't cruised with Disney at all, and it's been 4 or 5 years since my last cruise on Royal. So I'm excited to get on the cruise ship again.
It's going to be amazing. And am I right in saying it's 2013 since we've been in the same Disney theme park together?
Are you serious?
It's either 2013 or 2015. I can't make my mind up which it is, but it is an incredibly long time.
And the key thing is it's been far too long. Yes.
It has. So next August 2022, I have booked us a lovely little cabin on the Disney Fantasy. It just came about by just saying, do you fancy a cruise? Just as you do.
Yes. And I said, you know what? It's time. Yes, let's do it.
So we're going to have some fantastic planning content as we get a little bit nearer to the big date. So I'm very excited. I know it's not the Disney wish, but you know what? I'd rather have 7 days on the Fantasy than 3 or 4 on the Wish. Don't you agree?
Oh, definitely. And I think we got a really nice rate, didn't we?
We did. We got a good price. The room we have got is a fantastic veranda room. It's in a fantastic Deck 7 location. And it's, quirkily enough, the same cabin I went in a couple of years ago when I was on the Fantasy for my first voyage.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's wonderful.
That's how I know it's a great cabin in a great location.
See, you just asked me to go, and I'm like, sure. And off Michelle went into planning mode, so
yeah.
Hats off to you.
Well, of course I did. I have to make sure that his very first Disney cruise is going to be utterly fabulous in every single way. But there'll be more about this later on. Anyway, let's get on to your fantastic trip. I know we've spoken a little bit on the podcast before about the planning stages. This was a trip for yourself and your boyfriend. Tell us a little bit about where you decided to book, how long you were going for, and the big details.
We decided to book at Pop Century, and we were on a 5-day total trip. 3 days in the parks, 1 day of relaxation and shopping, and then our final day we had a breakfast before we left out. Our first day, we got down to Orlando and onto property by about 11:30, and we went to Epcot. Thank you, Skyliner, for direct service. Our second day was our day of rest. Our third day was Magic Kingdom, and then our last day in the parks was at Animal Kingdom.
Fantastic stuff. So let's dig into that Epcot day, because it's very weird for me coming from the United Kingdom, because a lot of our flights get us in late on the day, so that our first day is normally 7 a.m. We're wide awake because of the time difference, and we're hitting a full day in the park, whereas it's quite typical if you're flying in the internal USA airspace that your flights are overnight and you get there early morning. So you must have done fairly well to get into Epcot by just before lunch, really.
Yes, we actually got to Pop Century property at about 11, which is the same time Epcot opened. So we still had a bit of a line at the Skyliner hub center to get into Epcot itself. But really, I think for us that are traveling in day of, Epcot is a great way to start your vacation. It opens a bit later, and it's so large, the crowd doesn't really flock to any one area, I feel. Also, it was midweek, so we didn't have the traditional weekend crowds there at Epcot. But we started with a little lunch, which actually turned out to be delightful. We went to one of the festival booths, the Honey Bistro, and had a lavender honey mustard marinated chicken flatbread and orange blossom honey wine. It was actually one of his favorites for our entire trip. He said.
Really? Wow.
Yes. So after that, we hit some of the attractions. I still call it Future World. I can't help it. That's what it's always going to be. Now, when I was there in late February, they were setting up for Flower and Garden. The topiaries were just starting to be set out, but something that was open this time was the Butterfly Garden. I had never been through that before, which is beautiful. Lots of up close with all sorts of different species of butterflies. That was a nice new thing for me. But we spent kind of a leisurely pace throughout the day. He had prioritized wanting to see Soarin'. He had not done that before. One of his favorites is Mission Space, so we got in. We rode that later in the day after the crowds had thinned out a bit. I think our longest wait that day was probably about 45 minutes for an attraction. But we did the big ones. Test Track was having problems, and but he didn't really want to ride that, so we skipped that one. Lots of good food and drinks. Visited several of the festival booths. Another one that was a highlight for me was the Trowel and Trellis booth, where I had the Impossible Korean short ribs. I'm not a strict vegetarian, but I always try to sample the Impossible selections, and it was phenomenal. Also had a nice matcha cranberry and lime green tea with vodka there. That was delicious as well. Would definitely recommend that.
So just talk to me a little bit about the ambience and the feelings and the atmosphere in Epcot, because am I right when you arrived that they had just relaxed the mask wearing outdoors, or was that in your trip that happened?
No, it was the week prior, so we knew that ahead of time. Both you and I are fortunate enough that we have both been vaccinated. We both work in healthcare practices, so it felt weird, to be honest with you, though. Epcot, of all areas, that probably felt the safest place.
Okay.
There's so much open air. We spent most of our day back in the different country pavilions. So much of that is outdoors and open air, and the crowds they didn't feel very, very thick there. In the Future World area, crowds were a bit heavier, but I found myself just subconsciously, if I was getting around a larger group of people, I would just reach down and pull up my mask without even thinking about it. Now, the other parks that we got to, I definitely felt slightly more uncomfortable. Even though I've had a vaccine, it's unusual. I just hope that we're truly cresting this wave with this pandemic and we don't see any surges as these mandates start to relax.
No, I totally agree. I know where we are in the UK, it's a little bit sort of knife edge whether we will or won't relax everything on the June 21st date. So we shall see. I know my particular area is having an influx of variants from all over the place. You know, we've got a Thai variant, an Indian variant, a Yorkshire variant. It's getting quite worrying about them all.
Yes.
So we shall see what happens on that. So
Right.
I know you've taken and bought in a load of really cool masks to wear anyway.
Well, yes, I did. I even planned them according to some of the shirts I was going to wear. So, I still want to show off what I had. So, but, as I said, Epcot definitely felt comfortable going around without a mask on. Sometimes in Magic Kingdom, that's another one where I definitely felt more of a, I just don't want other people's germs, not just from COVID, just from sickness, or flu. But, hey-ho, that's where we're going.
The other day, I was listening to Window to the Magic with my friend Paul Barry being the host, and he walked into Disneyland for the very first time after its very long closure, and I was literally an emotional wreck listening to him and hearing his reaction and the cast members and everybody who was in Disneyland. It's been quite a while for your boyfriend since he's been in a Disney park. Is he as big a fan nerd as we are? Did he get that emotional response? Because I know you've been there since February, so you might not have had all those heartstring pulls, but what about him?
Well, he's not as hardcore as you and I. Who is really? But I think he said he was last there in 2015 or 2016. And the way he would go with his friends is, a later start, I do a few rides, mill about for a while, and then leave. He was mentioning fast passes, and even though he had been there since Avatar had opened, and what was not Avatar, Pandora, excuse me, had opened, they didn't get to experience it because of wait times, which would stretch up to 3-4 hours, right? So he was excited to go back, but also I think that he was wonderful about listening to what I said in terms of, okay, here's how we're gonna get these big attractions done. So it was really great to see his reactions to some of the things that I already knew were going to be amazing. I hate sounding like such a sap, but you know me, seeing how excited he got on Flight of Passage, I got tears in my eyes. I stopped watching the screen at a couple points just to look at him. I'm so disgusting sometimes.
No, that is the thing, though, when you're taking someone who's not been to the park for a long time, or you're taking somebody who's never been, that reaction is just so precious. It's more exciting than actually being on the attraction. So I'm so glad that you had that, because it's a very special thing and a very special bond that you had by going on this joint trip together. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Let's talk about some of the amazing food that you had, because I know you sent me message after message about going to Skipper's Canteen, which has become one of your favourite eateries now. So why don't you share what you ordered and tell us a little bit about the experience?
So we had kind of a late lunch reservation for that day. I thought it would be a good way to break up the day in Magic Kingdom. We arrived and had to wait about 15 minutes after we checked in, but we were fortunate enough to be taken back into the library room.
Ooh.
Yes, that was nice. I didn't want to dawdle as our host was seating us, but I just wanted to look around that restaurant. Perhaps one of the positives about COVID in that restaurant is it's not too packed. So, I got the sense that maybe that restaurant could be a little noisy just by how close the tables were positioned. Now, they weren't filling up every table, but I could see that on a full capacity day, that place might get a little noisy, and you wouldn't really be able to enjoy the ambiance of it. But we had a wonderful server, and they continued with some of those bad puns that we all love from the Jungle Cruise. Yes. Magic Kingdom. Oh, the food options. So sad. But Skipper Canteen, it was so wonderful. We decided to go with just a bunch of appetizers and share them between us. So we each got 2. He ordered the pork capachas that I believe you had recommended.
I had, because I don't want to blow my own trumpet here, but I did suggest to you, skip ordering an entree and just get the appetizers, desserts, and a beverage. So I am so pleased that you listened to me.
Well, even I must listen to a guru. So, yes, we did. He got that, and they had a special that day of the pork skewers. I had also read on another website that if that was available, that was another highly recommended appetizer, and he loved those. I went vegetarian for the day, and I got the falafel salad and their take on a wedge salad, which was classier than anything I've ever seen. But Here again with drinks, we were both able to get sangria. We don't have our drink options in Magic Kingdom, sadly. That was that was one of his notes of things that he was slightly disappointed with is the lack of alcohol in Magic Kingdom. I'm like, sorry, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you never know. It came to Disneyland.
I did see that over to Blue Bayou.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So Skipper's Canteen, if they were able to do that, that might make a big difference, because it does tend to be one of those eateries that's on the quieter side and quite frequently available, because I don't know whether it's because people think of it as being too adventurous, they just want to have a quick burger and go. I don't know, but I love eating there. You know that.
And I made a reservation for myself there for my birthday trip in a few weeks because I loved it so much.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. So that was our big food highlight of Magic Kingdom. We had some other little snacks, but, nothing else over and above the usual park fare. Now, the best food, though, I thought was actually at a resort that we weren't staying at, but I wanted to visit. Finally made it over to the Riviera Resort.
Oh, my word. Oh.
It's right on that Skyliner. And let's face it, Pop Century's food court, mediocre. But it's a hop, skip, and a jump on that Skyliner over to Riviera. We went over there on 2 different days of our trip.
Wow.
Yes. Great service, wonderful drink specials, nice, fresh food with a little Mediterranean twist. Even your basic burger had truffle fries and sauteed onions, and I got this nice, basically almost like grilled veggie skewers and fresh made hummus and pita. Delicious and a good value for the resort, I thought.
Would you consider for your next trip, for your birthday trip in July, going there for the breakfast? Because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
I would. That's I hadn't even thought about breakfast reservations. I've heard good stuff about it too from everyone. It's so easy to get to. If you're anywhere on that Skyliner route, yeah, you should definitely consider just popping into Riviera. It's gorgeous over there.
I just thought of it because if you're going to have a day where you're not going to the parks, how better than to hop on the Skyliner, go get a really good breakfast, maybe then go down to the Springs, have a few beverages as you wander around, lose the inhibitions as you spend all your money, giving it all straight to Disney.
Right.
It's no coincidence that there are alcoholic bars offering beverages and shops selling things that you don't really need.
Exactly. I did pretty good with that this trip, though. You'd be proud of me.
Good boy.
I got to pay for a cruise.
You have indeed, my lovely. You have indeed. But I am going to let you share with everybody what amazing thing you have done for me and for my lovely grandson.
Aw. Well, let's face it. This child has Disney in his DNA. So he now has his very first set of Mickey ears. He's got the classic black. We just wanted a classic thing for his nursery. And so those will be making their way across the ocean to you a little bit later today.
I am so excited to have his pictures with his little ears by the side of him. He's going to have I'm going to arrange with the photographer to have like a little sort of portrait session, and his ears are definitely going to be included. So thank you. You are the most wonderful person. So really, really melted my heart when you sent the picture through. But what else did you buy? What goodies did Anthony tempt himself with?
I only bought myself a hat.
Oh, man. That's no
it.
good.
I know. But, I'm going back soon. I can buy more stuff then. I did buy some other birthday presents while I was there. But yeah, I curbed the spending, I had more food, so that's where I spent more of my money this go around.
I suppose it's different though when you're going with somebody rather than going on a trip on your own, because you don't mind having the more social side of the dining and the table service and going to the lounges because you've got someone there with you. It can be a little bit difficult if you're on your own, maybe a bit intimidating, or people just thought, oh, there's somebody on their own over there.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I think I mentioned this to you in the past. Typically, I'm not scared to do anything at Disney by myself, but in the days of mask and social distancing, it is a little hard to relax fully, when you're by yourself, because it gets a little lonely. But It was nice having someone with me this time. I even got him into the best breakfast on property.
Oh, my word. Tell us everything.
Yeah, so that was our last morning before we flew out. I was lucky enough to get a Kona reservation. He loved it. Top tip for there. It's not on the menu, but you can do the mimosa flight, and it's only $2 more than one mimosa, and you get 3 smaller ones with different juices. So I think it's a better value because it's definitely more champagne than the single.
Good tip there, Anthony. Thank you.
Yes, and here again, it's not on the menu, but order the big kahuna if A, you have a big appetite, and B, you want to try a little bit of everything. That way you can have some of their French toast. It's not the Tonga toast, I'm sorry. But you would at least get the macadamia nut pancakes. He was quite impressed with that. That was another one of the things he said he enjoyed the most on our trip. You'd be so proud. I again got my plant-based Loco Moco, like we talked about before. Good value there. $13, very filling. I felt full through the rest of the day, to be honest with you. Yeah, had our pressed pot of coffee. Wonderful service. I don't think I can ever go to Disney again and not go to Kona for breakfast.
I am so glad that the pair of you were able to get that reservation, go, enjoy, and have yet another fantastic breakfast there. So I'm so pleased for you, lovely. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
We love our sweets, right?
Oh, yeah.
How obsessed with Gideon's.
Oh, my word. Talk Gideon's to us all.
It is truly the most unique experience I've ever had. It's a bakery, but it looks like something out of a Tim Burton movie. It's so unusual, isn't even the right word. So special. It feels like you're in a magician shop from the 1900s. It's wonderful. It's got these hand-drawn pictures on the wall that honestly look something out of Beetlejuice. But let's face it, decor aside, the food, the cookies, one cookie is as big as your hand. It is amazing. The coffee drinks there, the peanut butter cold brew is the best thing on property. Period. Period.
I've heard the same thing from our lovely friend Marla Chan, and she went and she just raved about it, and I was like sending subliminal messages across the ocean saying, Anthony, get the peanut butter cold brew. You will enjoy it, because we're both peanut butter fans, and we can talk about this quite comfortably because we don't have Jane here, who is the anti-peanut butter person on the podcast. Is it that good?
I don't trust her. When you say those two things together, like cold brew's good, peanut butter's delicious, but you think in a coffee, like how does that work? I don't really know myself. I think it's more like the peanut butter sauce, like you would put on a sundae. I think that must be how they did it. I was too busy taking pictures of like the inside of the store, but I think I drank it within a minute. It was the best thing I had. Oh.
So do you know what you need to do when you go back in July? You need to go and take a drip stand. You need to go and take some little baggies, fill that up, and walk around plumbed in for the rest of the day with your cold brew peanut butter Gideon's special.
But here's the thing. Okay, we got to Disney Springs shortly after 11 that morning. I went straight there and put our name on the the walk-up list,
Mm-hmm.
and received a text 2.5 hours later.
What? You've got... Well, just rewind. You can't just go to the store. You've got to put your name down.
Yes. It was that early in the day, and there was already a 2.5 hour wait before you could come back.
Oh, my word.
Podcast family, go directly to Gideon's. Get your name on the list. Make it happen.
So what cookies did you try?
We got several. That's another thing about having someone with you. You can share. Of course.
You see, I love the fact that several can cover a whole smorgasbord of numbers. It could be more than 2, but it could be 15.
Well, they only have 6 to choose from. But I'll tell you the ones that I did try. And I'll finish with the one that I wasn't expecting to love the most. But anyway, I'll save it. So we had the peanut butter chip. Of course, delicious. We've just spoken about our love for peanut butter. That was probably my second favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's 2 different versions of a chocolate chip. One with dark chocolate and one with more milk chocolate. Both of those were good. Nice flaky sea salt to balance out some of the sweetness. Then the cookies and cream. That had almost like bits of Oreo cookie inside the cookie itself. And then like all around the outside was a layer of crushed up Oreos.
Oh my word. David Maruka, that's the cookie for you, my friend. You will love it. Make sure you go get it.
No. Let me finish with the best.
Oh, no. Go on.
Now, see, we asked the young cast member who was at the door what his favorite was. And he said, and he recommended this. And I was kind of like, are you sure? But I tried it. And let me tell you, the coffee crumb cake cookie.
Oh.
This, right? Like you wouldn't think those things go together. You know, like the best part of the coffee crumb cake is generally like the top, right? Imagine that slightly more gooey inside of a cookie and then covered with another layer of that topping all around the cookie itself.
Emergency 101, podcaster about to drown in her own saliva here. Oh my man, that just sounds amazing.
Yeah. And I'm such a chocolate and peanut butter person. I was thinking, that probably won't be too great. But no, it was. He was right. Listeners get it. Amazing.
Oh, can I just say something that I was reading the other day about Gideon's that I found quite interesting? You cannot order online from this place. You've got to just basically go pick up the cookies from there. But there is a growing trend in these shoppers that will go buy the cookies and send them off to people. And Gideon's are trying to cut this down because they're saying, look, the reason we don't do this is that our cookies are best devoured on the day of purchase, because we don't fill them full of preservatives and all of the nasties that you need to make things have a 6.5-year shelf life. So they are trying to work really, really hard with people who go and visit, that they are actually eating and devouring the cookies themselves and not reselling them in the resale market, which is really weird because I would never think to buy a cookie from a personal shopper. I don't know about you.
No. By the time it gets to you wherever you are, it's going to be hard as a rock. No, thank you.
Well, yes. Especially if it's coming all the way over to the UK, I'd be able to smash windows with it.
That could be Joseph's first teething biscuit.
Yeah. Oh gosh, don't think I've got to get through teething yet.
Just go directly there. It's phenomenal. We also ate at Jock Lindsay's. I hadn't been there in a few years. We were at Disney Springs. Nice to eat out on the water. That place is a little difficult to get into. They don't have a lot of seating. And now with COVID, it's even a bit harder to find a table. So if that's something you want to try, I would also make that a priority for maybe earlier in the day before crowds pick up.
Top tip. You have made our mouths water with all the delectable food talk. Just take us into the theme park though. Was there anything there that you just thought was just so wonderful that wasn't available on the last trip? Anything that's still closed? Anything that you would like to feedback?
My heart was so happy getting to see The Lion King again. Yes. Even though we don't have our tumble monkeys and we don't have our aerialists. But Michelle, it's still so lovely. Those same performers, the same dancers. I did get teary-eyed again at the end, even though it wasn't everything we remember. It was still like, oh, this is the magic of Disney. You've got to figure that even like over at Magic Kingdom, those stage shows there in front of the castle, you would figure that those could go on soon. I hope they sort it soon.
Is it all to do with the fact of the close contact of the performers that is a concern to keep them safe, I suppose?
I guess. Hopefully soon. Maybe this is just our first step, because it does seem like the Lion King performers, now that you mention it, they do stay apart from one another pretty well. Mm-hmm. It makes you wonder what type of testing they do for staff. For the performers. I don't know. Let's see. But be prepared. We tried to make the 1:30 show for that day. Mm-hmm. We showed up at 10 after 1, and we had to wait until the 2:30 show. Ooh. Maybe plan at least to get there at least 40 minutes before your show, if you're wanting to see it.
Top tip again.
Yes.
It's so much better when we can get back into the whole fast pass scenario.
Yes. Did you see about the glitch that was popping up in people's apps this week that was giving people hope that it would soon be back?
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Although I did see something on social media the other day, not with regards to fast passes, but with regards to fireworks maybe coming back at the end of June. I don't know if that is 100% accurate, my friend, but you know. I
will need a comfort animal if I get to see see fireworks on my birthday. Oh my gosh.
I have just got visions now of you with a comfort chicken.
Hey, I don't care. That'll work.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I am so glad that you have got your annual pass and you're able to go down so frequently and enjoy and share that joy with your boyfriend and have that first trip together. Very, very special. Lots of memories made. I wish I was going to go with you on your birthday trip, because we would be decadently dining our way through, and we might even get on a few attractions.
Yeah, just a few. It's been a while for you.
Well, yeah, but you know what? It happens. I'll get back there.
You will.
And I know I'm seeing a lot of people now having and sharing their countdowns to their trips, and it really warms my heart that we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, we are. And soon to be reunited, you and I.
Absolutely. We will get back together in the same time zone very, very soon. Well, lovely. It has been a delight having a chat with you about your trip. I always love planning them with you, chatting while you're there, and then reminiscing after them. You are an absolute darling. Please bombard us with all your pictures so we can share them, and we will pop them over on DisneyDreamGirls.com, or we will put them on our Instagram at DisDreamGirls and tag in yourself as well.
Sounds good, dear. It was great catching up with you.
Always, my lovely. Take care, everybody. Please keep yourself safe, and until we see you again, it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.